I'm Ella.
I'm Dr. Brandon.
And today we have 7 tips to help you with inflammation.
Cool, and we do have a cheat sheet here, so if you see my eyes looking down here, I'm just reading off some of my 7 tips, because I can't remember them all. All right, tip number 1, rest. It is an obvious one, but is one that we absolutely need to take care of because especially acute inflammation, so you've just sprained an ankle or a knee or a shoulder or something like that, we have a tendency these days to just push through or to take painkillers or anti-inflammatory medications so that we can kind of ignore it and get through our day. That is not rest, that is actually the opposite. That is putting the body, especially when the body's trying to tell you to take some weight off of that area or to let the body heal, let that part of the body heal. So that's what inflammation is doing. Inflammation is there to heal the body. We need it to let it do its job by, first of all, resting so we don't push it too hard and re-injure the area. Tip number 2, remove any underlying causes. Now I'm talking more about chronic inflammation, so inflammation that's been around for a while or keeps coming and going. So I mean, if it's an ankle sprain, yes, you know that you sprain your ankle and then you can see what the cause was. But if it's something that keeps flaring up, we can try and put your detective hat on and see what is it that keeps setting this off. Is it my posture? Is it work? Does it happen after I dig in the garden? Gym sessions or a certain thing that you do at the gym? Or is it, there's so many different, the shoes that you wear. So you need to kind of try and work out where this is coming from so you can address the actual underlying cause. Tip number 3, ice. Ice, which is a common one, especially for active inflammation in that acute phase where it's, so you've just sprained an ankle, for example, and usually the first 48 hours is when it's actively swelling. That's when you want to put some cold on there to help just curb the amount of swelling so that it speeds up the recovery and the rehab afterwards. So there's not so much scar tissue to get through. And also, I mean, because inflammation is there to heal it, but we want to just ease off. It also helps for pain as well, so ice. After the first 48 hours, that's roughly about the time when it's stopped its active swelling, so it's not going to get any bigger, and you can start switching to heat. But usually ice, say 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, something like that, or 20 minutes every half an hour, something like that, just so long as there's a rest in between. For chronic inflammation, you can try ice baths or cryotherapy chambers or things like that to help with the systemic inflammation. Next, number 4, compress and elevate. Part of the RICE program where we rest, ice, compress and elevate. So compress the area, especially for now short-term injuries, which just means wrapping something reasonably firm but not overly tight, so we still want blood flow to get through, but we want to just limit the amount of swelling into that area. And elevate above the heart. That is, yes, my cheat sheet. Elevate above the heart. So it just helps with draining. So if it's a sprained ankle, lying on the floor or on your back and just getting a pillow underneath that ankle so it lifts up. Tip number 5, anti-inflammatory foods. Now we're talking especially for chronic inflammation. It still works for acute, but more so for chronic inflammation. So there's a whole bunch of different foods that we can have that can help lower the inflammatory markers in our body. Dark leafy green vegetables are fantastic for doing that. Raw berries, especially blueberries, are really good for this as well. Lots of antioxidant properties as well, so that'll help with the gut because a lot of inflammatory diseases originate from the gut. So if we can look after that, we can look after the inflammation a lot better and the disease a lot better. Fermented vegetables, again, looking after the gut. Omega-3 fatty acids, fantastic for a whole bunch of things, including brain function, so you can have them from fish or from tablet form. Herbs, there's a whole bunch of herbs and spices. Turmeric, especially mixed with black pepper, because turmeric on its own, we're not as good at digesting and absorbing it, but you mix it with black pepper and our absorption rate goes through the roof, so it's fantastic. Other herbs and spices, ginger, cloves, garlic, zinc, green tea. So there's a whole bunch of different things that you can add to the meals that will help lower your inflammation. Number 6, avoid processed foods. Avoid processed foods, sugars, meats, vegetable oils, or foods cooked in high temperatures, especially if they're then cook it in vegetable oil. So it's all of those things add to inflammatory markers in the body and help to raise your systemic inflammation. So if we can reduce that, fantastic. And essential oils, tip number 7. You can add essential oils to your routine. You can try, especially rosemary has been shown to, by studies to show some good anti-inflammatory components to it. You can either massage into the body, or you can put a couple of drops into a tea or something like that, or breathe it in. So yeah, different ways to reduce your inflammation.
Beautiful. Essential oils in food can be delicious. But if you are going to use essential oils around the house, make sure that it's not going to interfere with your pets at all. Something that can be fantastic for us can harm them. So do some research on that first.
Cool. That's it.
That is it, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you want to see anything else.
Cool. See ya.
Bye.